Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto become the god of fairy tale and got harem? Part 1. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Naruto Uzumaki slowly makes his trip back home from confronting Pain. Well, I guess you could say Nagato of the Akatsuki. After having their little talk, Pain Nagato had decided to bring everyone in the village he had killed back to life, but with the price of his own life. Man, this really sucks, I feel like shit, and the village is not getting closer at the rate I'm walking. He sighed as he walked along his path. It really did suck when you were low on chakra. As he was walking, couldn't help but feel that something was going to happen, and soon. Just as that thought popped into his head, he looks in the sky to see large vortex in the sky right above him. When he starts to feel a pull, he can tell if he didn't get out of there soon he was so funked. As he was trying to get away from the vortex, the pull just kept getting stronger and stronger till he was just sucked straight into it. It's a mountain in Earthland X 775. The blonde slowly opens his eyes to see that he was no longer in the forest near Konoha, instead on some random mountain in some place he had never seen before. What the funk was that? He groaned out as he stood up to come face to face with someone who had a questioning look on his face. The man had bright blonde hair just like his, just a bit longer to his shoulders, while having yellow eyes as well. He was wearing a blue kimono with yellow lightning bolts on it, while sporting a long katana on his back. The man was about 6 feet tall, while he seemed to be trying to get the blonde's attention. "Oh, sorry. You say something?" Naruto asks as he turns his attention back to the speaking man. "Yeah, I was wonder how did you get here? No human should be able to get to the top of this mountain," he said as he sat down, gesturing for Naruto to do as well. "What do you mean by human? You talk as if you're not human." Naruto asked, generally confused as to why the man spoke that way. The man chuckled. "Yes, that is exactly what I am saying to you. I am the god known as Rai, the god of lighting," Rai proclaimed quite loudly, but was ruined by Naruto looking at him with a deadpan expression. "Yeah, okay," he replied. "I swear, why do I always have to meet the crazy people everywhere I go? I think Kami hates me sometimes," he thought to himself as Rai grew a tick mark on his head. "What the hell is that supposed to mean? Are you trying to say am lying to you because God can lie, you little brat?" Rai yelled as he was attempting to calm himself down so he didn't kill the little punk that had the nerve to tell him he was lying. Okay, calm down, it's just hard to believe that you are God. The last person that proclaimed he was God, I kicked his ass and sent him packing," Naruto said, tying calm the guy down that had lighting sparkling around him with his eyes glowing bright yellow. Rai finally calmed down with a sigh as the lightning went away. "Okay, back to the main reason of this conversation. How did you get up this mountain? This is my home. It shouldn't be possible for humans to get up here, and yet here you are just sitting in my home with a stupid look on your face," he asked as Naruto looked mildly offended by that remark. "Well, I don't really know. I was walking back from fighting Pain Nagato to return to Konoha when this large vortex appeared in the sky out nowhere and I got sucked up into it, and now here I am," the younger blonde said while Rai narrowed his eyes at that. "So the kid got sucked up by Anima, so that means he's from another world. Well, looks like he is stuck here from now on, because he does have magic. I can feel it running off him like a fountain, even if it feels a little different from normal. So he is most likely not from Idolas. The damn thing rarely ever goes to another dimension besides this one and never goes back a second time. I don't know how to break it to the kid, this sucks." Rai pondered and thought with frown on his face. "Hey man, did I say something wrong or something?" Naruto asked as he saw the frown on the older man's face. "Oh, sorry. Listen, I don't know how to tell you this, so I just come right out and say it. You are in a different dimension and there is no possible way for you to get back, so all I can really say is that I'm sorry you can't go home. It's just not possible," Rai said as he looked at Naruto's reaction. He was shocked, however, to see the kid a little depressed with a small sad smile on his lips. The two sat there in silence for a good 2 minutes as Naruto thought about what he heard. He couldn't go home, but for some reason he didn't feel the need to go home. It's not like he was wanted there anyway, and sure, he had friends and goals that he wanted to go back and protect, but here he could start over a new life without being hated from the very beginning. With Rai, he was trying to think of a way to help the boy out, some way, anything, till an idea popped up. "Hey, I have an idea. Why don't I train you to learn my God Slayer magic for the next 10 years here and teach you about this place at the same time? When you leave, I promise you will be able to easily stand up to a wizard saint by the time we are done, and the best part is when the 10 years are up, you will only age 2 years, because every year is 5 years on my mountain." Rai exclaimed, "The only reason I train him longer is because those damn dragons. God, I hate those overgrown serpents," he screamed and thought as Naruto widened his eyes at the man's offer, but was a bit confused. Rai-san, what are you talking about? Magic and wizard saint? Don't you mean chakra and Kage level ninja?" Naruto asked completely and utterly confused while Rai chuckled at that. Oh yeah, Rai said as he looked at the sky. It was still morning. Okay, well I guess today I will tell you all about this place and what mages and magic is. So don't interrupt me till I finished. Rai stated as he began to tell Naruto as much as he could about Earthland. 8 hours later, same place. And that is about it on Earthland. Rai stated as he stared at the other blonde. He was surprised to see a look of understanding on his face. Rai figured he would have to answer like 3 hours of questions. Rai-san, I would like to accept your offer for training, and trust me when I say this, I will not let you down. Believe it. Naruto yelled as Rai chuckled at Naruto verbal tick. Oh, and one more thing, Blondie, promise me that whatever I teach you, you will use it only to protect what is precious to you, got it? Rai questioned as Naruto gave the nice guy pose with a thumbs up. I promise, Rai-sensei. Naruto yelled as Rai nodded his head in acceptance. But now let's go in for the night. We start training first thing in the morning, and I can feel you are already powerful as it is. I would like to spare against you in the morning to see what you already can do. Don't disappoint. Rai waved for Naruto to follow him into the house for dinner and to go to sleep. After dinner was done, Rai told Naruto he could sleep in the spare bedroom, so this is where we find our little blonde hero now laying and thinking of all the stuff that happened today over in his head. Well, that's it. I guess I start my new life in this new world where people use magic instead of chakra and they have mages instead of ninja. Well, it is better than having to be in a village full of people that hate you. At least now I can drop the dumb idiot acted I made when I was younger for people to not see me sad all the time. Naruto thought as he sighed and closed his eyes to let sleep take him. Naruto mindscape. What the hell? Why am I in here again? He asked himself as he walked toward the cage where the QB was at. Hey, you damn fox, where the funk are you? Get out here right now. Naruto demanded. The strange thing was is that he did not get any reply, so he yelled again and still no answer. That was when he heard a faint sound of crying coming from inside the cage, so beginning the curious person he walked into the cage and started to go deeper into it. That's when he saw a girl about his age. She red hair that reached the middle of her back, she had long slender legs and was wearing a crimson red kimono. From where he was standing he could see she had D-cup breast. He had to look away while blushing. The most noticeable feature that made his eyes widen were the 9 crimson foxtails that were coming out of her tailbone when it hit him like a ton of bricks on who this person was. You're the QB, aren't you? He stuttered out. You're the QB, aren't you? He stuttered out as QB spun around from hearing him speak. What the funk is going on? I swear every time I think I have something hardwired into my some stupid shit like this happens. Why the hell is QB a girl? Or wait, this could be a trick to let him out and then kill me after. I don't know anymore. Think Naruto. Think, man, I don't remember ever having to work this hard just to think. Did I just insult myself? Why does this always happen to me? He yelled in thought as he cried in I'm tears all the while. QB sweat drop at the scene in front of her as she saw the change in emotions on his face. It went from scared to confused, then to depressed, all in a matter of seconds. Sometimes she really worried about her container's sanity. Are you okay? She questioned, worried and confused as to why he was acting that way. Coming back to reality, he looked at her, then everything that was happening came rushing back and he backed away a bit scared. Why, yeah, am perfectly fine. Why do you ask? He said while stuttering, failing completely at having a brave face. If you're worried about me hurting, then you are completely fine, just hear me out please. She pleaded while he relaxed a little bit but not completely, while he didn't take his eyes off of QB form, trying really hard not to blush. Of course, with all his amazing luck, QB noticed the small blush on his face and smirked. Oh, do you like what you see? She purred out teasingly, effectually making him go tomato red from all the blood rushing to his cheeks, causing him to look away. After a few moments he growled lowly, making her lose the calm visage and go back to depressed. Listen, I'm sorry, I never wanted all of this to happen. I never intended to attack your village. I never wanted to be so mean to you. When we first met I wanted to tell you how sorry I was for making your life so miserable, but I needed you strong, and for that I needed you to think you couldn't rely on my chakra, so I pushed you away for you to think it was evil. I couldn't let you get power hungry off of it. With the way I did it you would think you needed to be stronger, so you never needed to use that evil energy. The only reason I showing you my true self is because we are safe from that world now and we can both start over here in this world. I'm so sorry, please forgive me. I never wanted any of this to happen, it all just panned out that way. All I'm asking for is for you to at least give me a second chance and prove to you I'm not just some evil mindless fox. She pleaded with him, which for the blonde just had his eyes widened in shock during her plea. So you did all that just because you didn't want me to rely on you when I got in trouble, so you pushed me away to make sure of that. Am I missing anything here? He questioned as his eyes softened towards the end of it while she nodded her head from his statement. Trust me Naruto-kun, I never wanted to push you away every time you came to demand for my chakra. I wanted to tell you the reasons why it was so bad to use, but I had to keep up my evil mask, so I let you take some, while I said something stupid like yes take it, let it control you. Trust me when I say this, my chakra is extremely addicting, and once you start using it it's hard to stop. She stated while Naruto raised an eyebrow at the Kun statement, then an evil smirk made its way upon his face. Which made QB narrow her eyes at him. So Kaiwu-chan, are we moving that fast that you already added Kun behind my name? The blonde asked in a husky voice that QB blushed as she looked down at the ground trying to hide her blush while she shuffled in place a bit until Naruto burst out laughing at her reaction. QB looked up and glared at him before she pouted, which made her look really cute to Naruto. Ooh, that was mean Naruto-kun. She pouted as he laughed even harder at her. Okay, sorry, I just couldn't pass that up. So what are we going to do now, because I decided everyone deserves a second chance, so am giving it to you. He stated as she beamed with happiness. Well, she started as Naruto leaned in waiting for her to continue but didn't expect what came next. I really don't know, that is a really good question Naruto-kun. She stated effectually, making him face fault while she giggled at his reaction, making him glare at her. You did that on purpose, didn't you? He questioned with his glare still in place while she nods he head at the question. Great, why do all the women in my life like to make me look like an idiot? Also, I can barely tell who the real me is anymore. I feel like my mask and regular personality mixed since using my mask so much that I made back in Konoha. No, I'll think about that later when I have the time. He thought with a sigh while turning his attention back to the QB who looked a little worried for some reason. Naruto has something extremely important I have to tell you about the seal that will affect us in the future. She stated while looking down. Naruto narrowed his eyes at this. What could have happened to the seal? It was just fixed by his 2-san. What do you mean QB 2-san just fixed the seal? How could something be wrong with it already? He asked as he stared at it carefully to make sure this wasn't a trick. Well, you see, when we were sucked up into that Anima thing that guy was talking about, it kind of changed the seal in some ways. For example, I can now spec with you when you are not actually in the seal with me. Also, the main thing that changed was that in 8 years time the seal will be finished taking my chakra. She stated cautiously as Naruto gasped. How could she be talking so casually about losing her chakra? Your life force, she would die after that happens. What about you, wouldn't you die from having no chakra left? He questioned quickly, avoiding her gaze. He didn't want her to know he was worried about her. What are you talking about? I said it would finish taking my chakra in 8 years. Meaning whatever happened to the seal while in that vortex thing changed it to a timer type seal, and when up I get out and I'm free to do what I want, but I will most likely only have about 3 tails worth of chakra left, while you will have the other 6. QB explained while Naruto's eyes were widened in shock. The QB would be able to get out. That was either really good or really bad, depending on these next 8 years with her. For some reason though, he was kind of relieved that she was able to be free again and live her life again. Oh, and one more thing Naruto-kun, I don't know why, but our chakra for some reason is changing rapidly into whatever type of energy they have here. What was it called again? Magic music? No, that's not it. Magic it I think. She said while the blonde sweat dropped. The QB no Yoko couldn't remember something we hear about 30 times today. Wow, never thought I DC the great QB no Yoko forget something we heard so much of in one day. You must be getting old. He stated in an amused voice, while QB had a tick mark growing on her head at the old comment. Well, sorry Mr. Can sleep without Teddy. QB stated with a smirk when she saw his face turn from one of amused to one of confusion, then to realization and last to horror. You saw that? He asked while QB nodded her head while rolling on the floor from his reaction. He just huffed and turned away. After a few minutes she calmed down and turned a little serious. So what are you going to do now that you know that I will be free when the 8 years are up? She questioned but was no expecting the answer she got. Nothing. He stated cautiously like it was the easiest thing in the world. She slipped up a little because of how it was said, then had a questioning look on her face. Why? She questioned and all he did was shrug his shoulders. Do you want my first friend in this world to be able to come out and talk to me instead of having to come to this dump? He said as he looked around. Oh yeah, and how do you change this place up a bit so it does not look so gross? He asked while looking back at her to see tears in her eyes, which made him panic until she got up and sit in his lap to hug him tight, which made him blush. Thank you so much you know how much those words mean to. She states as she snuggles into his chest making him blush more, but ultimately decided to hug her back. It felt weird, he was rarely hugged before so it was comforting to say the least, but with these damn hormones screaming at him, made it feel a bit awkward. After a few more moments they broke apart. Thank you, I really needed that. Also I think you should go back to sleep for tomorrow. Oh, and for you question earlier, this is your mindscape, so it should change to your will. she answered while he nodded and closed his eyes. While his eyes were closed, the area they were in began to get brighter and brighter till grass started to grow into a field with a large lake with a waterfall on the far right, and behind them was a small house for about 3 people to live in. THAT when he opened his eyes to look around and smiled. Now THAT more like it, see you later Caillou-chan. Naruto yelled with a wave as he disappeared from view, completely missing QB's large admiring smile on her lips. This will be better than I expected, see you later Naruto-kun, talk to you in the morning when you wake up. She whispered softly as she went into her new house that Naruto had made for her. Our favorite Lon slowly opens his eyes and for some reason he keep a smile off his face. He already had a new sensei and a new friend in one day. He couldn't help but feel that he accomplished something in only a day in this world that took almost his whole life in the elemental nations to do. Deciding to push those thoughts away for now, he gets out of bed to start his day with his new sensei and friend. Oh Naruto-kun, I'm so happy that you think so much of me. QB purred in his head, causing him to face fault while QB laughed in his head. What the hell Caillou-chan, don't scare me like that, I swear. He grumbled as stood back up. Oh sorry, you were just having such nice thoughts that I wanted to tell you thank you for everything you have done for me. Now elite go see your new sensei. QB chirped happily while Naruto grumbled about damn cheeky fox girls. As Naruto walked to the door to open it, right at that moment, Rai decides it was time to wake Naruto up as he slams the door in Naruto's face. Hey Blondie, get your ass up, and oh there you are, what are you doing on the floor? We don't have time for you to be lazy. Now get up and come in the kitchen, breakfast is almost ready. Rai stated as he turned around and walked back to the kitchen to finish cooking. Today is not going to be a good day, I swear. One more hit in the face, that all it's going to take to set me off and make me want to kill whoever caused that third one. Granted the first was my fault, but that was to be expected from Caillou-chan. Naruto grumbled as he stood back up and he swore he could hear laughter in the back of his mind. So he just brushed it off and made his way to the kitchen to see if the food was done. Hey Naruto-kun, I always wanted to know, why did you always hold back when you were in the elemental nations? I'm pretty sure you were stronger than Kakashi when you came back from your 3-year training trip. QB asked, generally confused on why he never showed his real strength. All the while Naruto just smirked. So you knew I was holding back? How well, there is a really good answer to your question. Tell me Caillou-chan, what is Ninja's greatest weapon? Think really hard on that and it will come to you. He said with the smirk still plastered on. A ninja's best weapon? How well, there's this and that, but those have nothing related to him holding back. Of course, how can I have not figured this out sooner? Deception. She yelled in thought, then smiled at her container's brilliance. That's brilliant Naruto-kun, too bad there was nothing that would have made you go all out. The looks on their faces would have been priceless. Yeah, I know, that's what I was waiting for, but there was nothing really bad enough for me to go all out in the elemental nations. There was always a way out of every situation I got in. He stated just as he walked into the kitchen to see Rai at the stove finishing up. Took you long enough, what were you doing, talking to yourself or something? He asked jokingly. Naruto just smiled sheepishly while rubbing the back of his head. If you only knew, bro. He said in thought as he heard QB snicker at his comment. Then just sat down and waited for Rai to finish. After that Naruto waited another 2 minutes. Once that was over they ate in comfortable silence. Once they were finished, Rai put their dishes away to clean later as he motioned for Naruto to follow him to the file they were in yesterday. So I can tell you know how to fight, but the thing is I need to know how well and where to start in your training, so for this to work come at me with everything you got and LL see how this goes. Rai stated as he got into his ready stance. Okay Caillou-chan, you wanted to see me go all out, right? He asked QB. Yes, I VE always wanted to see, so LET see what you got Naruto-kun, she says excitably as Naruto started to go through hand seals. Wind release. Drilling air bullet, he yells as he sends a bullet of air at his opponent. Or at least he thought that would happen. Instead the air bullet moved extremely slowly towards Rai as Naruto and Rai sweat drop at the scene. I know I haven't practiced my wind jutsus in a few weeks, but I really didn't think I got this bad at I. He thought as he watched Rai sidestep it like it was nothing, which it was. That was until it impacted with a tree which caused Naruto and Rai's eyes to widen from a dome of wind that destroyed about 30 feet in radius. Naruto-kun, maybe I should have told you that our chakra finished changing to you know that stuff this morning, so you have to relearn all of your techniques, just saying. QB stated as she saw the technique not work properly. Really, and you couldn't tell me this earlier because why? He questioned. Would you believe me if I say it slipped my mind? She returned. No. He said flat out. Thought so, just had to try. She answered. Okay, looks like this just turned into a taijutsu fight. He said in thought as he got into his ready stance with Rai waving for him to start. He just nodded his head as he disappeared in a blur of speed, appearing in front of Rai, with his arm stretched out to hit Rai in the face, while Rai moved his head to the side with his eyes widened. Holy shit, I barely saw him move, I need to pay attention to this fight. He thought as Naruto used his momentum to lash out with his knee to Rai stomach. While Rai brings his own knee up to block Naruto then Rai grabs Naruto's head and slams it into the ground face first as Naruto screams in pain. Yuuk man, that hurt like a bitch. Why? He screamed as he cried and I'm tears. That's the third funking time this morning now I'm going to kick your ass for being the one who had the nerve to do it the third time. Believe it. He declared. Rai stands ready to start his test anew, so he backs up to give his trainee some space. Naruto gets to his feet pissed about getting hit in the face a third time. Come on blondie, show me what you got. Rai taunts Naruto to engage him by sticking him the finger. Naruto reaches behind him and digs in his pouch, grabbing a shuriken. Hey, what the funk are you doing, you idiot? Come on. Attack me. Naruto throws the shuriken, hitting Rai square in the chest. Holy shit, it did a funking throwing star. Naruto takes a decisive step toward Rai, who is preoccupied with pulling out a chunk of metal from his chest. Naruto kicks Rai in the face, it sends him crashing through the trees, making another clearing. How's that, Dumbus? Naruto yells with renewed vigor, pounding his chest in victory. Naruto runs to the clearing to find Rai, who should be in a pile of branches and fallen trees. Rai surprises Naruto from above with an elbow to the head and follows up with a spinning kick to the chest. Naruto flies into a tree, bouncing off and lands face first into the dirt. Throwing that star at me was a dirty trick. Is that what they taught where you're from? Rai composes himself and runs toward Naruto. Naruto spits the dirt out of his mouth and rushes toward Rai angrily. Rai opens with a punch, but Naruto jumps over him, he grabs Rai's fist and slams him into the ground. Rai recovers quickly and pulls Naruto in, headbutting him in the face. Naruto stumbles back, wincing in pain, and Rai running towards him knees him in the stomach. Naruto takes advantage of that and grabs him, he suplexes Rai head first into the ground. The earth cracks and Rai's body slumps to the ground, Naruto then jumps away from the scene. Naruto coughs up blood and tries to catch his breath. Naruto is then met with a clothesline that sends him flying. Rai runs in front of Naruto and kicks him back, sending Naruto through several trees. Naruto struggles to his feet, coughing blood, and pulls out a kunai in desperation. Naruto runs towards Rai, blade in hand, and slashes at him, but Rai is too fast and counters with chops to his body. Naruto kicks Rai in the air and attempts the Uzumaki barrage, he then realizes he can't make clone, so it fails. Rai lands on his feet and punches Naruto in the chest, then kicks him in the chest. Rai then tries to finishes the now weakened Naruto with a palm strike to the gut. Naruto loses his kunai and flies back stumbling, but manages to stay on his feet. Naruto makes the shadow clone hand sign out of habit. Is that all you got, you dumbdus? Naruto manages to whimper. Naruto gets his second wind and rushes Rai, he tries to sidestep but gets hit with spinning back kick to the face. Rai stumbles back and Naruto uppercuts Rai into the air. He jumps above and kicks him back down, seizing the moment Naruto lands another drop kick to Rai's chest. Naruto jumps back trembling, Rai stands back up, brushing off his attacks like nothing happened. How, after all of that, are you still fine? Naruto yells at the top of his lungs. Rai chuckles and appears before Naruto, smiling. Naruto steps back in fear of this man's speed and constitution. I'm called a god for a reason. Rai then chops Naruto in the neck. Naruto struggles to stay conscious, but eventually embraces it. "That's enough, I can see you are talented in hand-to-hand combat, and from the screw up at the beginning, it looks like you can use wind magic with the right training." Rai summarized as he thought of where he should start training Naruto. After about 3 minutes of thinking and trying to wake Naruto up, he finally figured out what he should start with. "Okay, I would usually start with physical training, but from the way you hit I can tell you don't really need it, so what WE_LL do. Every morning you will continue to train your body about 1 to 2 hours a day, then once you finish up there YOU_LL train Enlightening God Slayer magic till you have mastered it completely. I had a few other students in my long life, one not too long ago actually, but that's beside the point. What I'm trying to say is you will most likely master it in at most 8 years, but something tells me you will master it much sooner than that. Once that is all said and done you can learn any other type of magic you want. I have lots of books in my library on all kinds of different magic. I would like to recommend you learn wind magic first though, because I can see you have a talent for it," Rai stated with a smile. "So wait, you can have more than one type of magic?" Naruto questioned while Rai nodded to his question. "That's awesome, so I can learn more than one type of magic, is there a limit to it?" No, but it becomes awfully difficult to learn after 3, so my advice to you is only learn my magic, wind magic, and any other magic of your choice, or you could even make your own type of magic. You are from another world, make shit up as you go. Rai stated with a calculating look on his face. Do you think you can handle 3 different types of magic in 10 years, because I don't want you to hurt yourself in the process? Rai questioned with a hidden smirk, while Naruto and QB scoffed at that. Naruto-kun proved to this dumbass who he's talking to. Konoha s most unpredictable ninja and learn his ushid, what was it called again, whatever this world's energy is, learn it in half the time he gave you. QB stated with Naruto nodding his head in agreement. Don't worry Rai-sensei, I got this. I'll prove to you why where I come from they call me the _1 most unpredictable ninja and learn your magic in half the time you gave me to learn it. Believe it. Naruto yelled in the nice guy pose, giving Rai thumbs up. While Rai smirk turned into a full-blown grin from hearing Naruto's declaration. So you think you can learn my magic in only 4 years, you say? Okay, let see what you got, blondie. Rai stated while Naruto sweat dropped. You're blonde to you, asshole. He thought to himself. Then nodded his head still in his pose. While Rai walked away planning how much toward training he could give our blonde through the next 4 years. That's what you get for doubting me. I know I could recreate the Rasengan and shadow clones with magic instead of chakra. Naruto yelled excitedly to Rai, who was now inspecting one of Naruto's clones. Well, I have to say I was not expecting you to be able to do this when you explained the concept to me, but you continue to surprise me. Rai stated as he was poking the clone in the face to see if it was real, while the clone was trying to make him stop by swatting his hand away. Rai-sensei, could you stop poking my clone for some reason? When I make them with magic, some develop their own personality. Naruto warned as his clone punched Rai in the face with a lightning-encased fist, knocking him unconscious, while Naruto sweat dropped at the scene. I thought he was supposed to be a god. What kind of god gets knocked out by a single punch from a clone, no less? Oh well, I guess I'll continue training with my own magic for now. Naruto said in thought as he put his hand to the side with an open palm. Chakra make. Rasengan. He said as a perfect Rasengan formed in his hand. He then charged at a tree and ran the Rasengan straight through the tree and couple of the trees behind it, causing a large crater to be made. Okay, magic is defiantly stronger than chakra and destructive power because I don't remember it doing this much damage. He stated to himself as he thought of what else he could do to pass the time while his sensei was still out like a light. Guess I can go over the thing I learned in my God Slayer magic. He said as he got ready to start practicing. Well, might as well have some fun while I'm practicing. He said with a grin while he put his hands in a T-hand seal. Chakra make. Mass shadow clone. He yelled as 30 shadow clones popped into existence. Magic may make all my techniques stronger, but it kind of sucks this is the max amount of shadow clones I can make. At least they can take more hits now. He thought. Okay guys, let's go. All of you versus me till only one of us remains standing and that will be me. Believe it. He yelled to his clones as he got a collective shout of Yosh. From his clones. Lightning God breakdown fist. He yelled as he drove his fist charged with black lightning into a clone's stomach, make him fly at breakneck speed straight into 3 other clone, making them all dispel. He then jumped to the right to dodge a lightning God bullet fired by one of his clones. He landed to see the lightning bullet that was fired hit a clone and exploding on impact, dispel all the clones nearby. He then ran at the clone that fired the bullet while charging up black lightning into his hand, shooting. Lightning God shocking touch. As he grabbed the clone's face, frying the clone on the spot with it dispelling. He then heard another clone yell lightning God light spear. As he watched the clone throw a spear of compacted white lightning straight at him. Thinking quickly he yelled. Lightning God barrier. As a dome of black lightning made a dense shell around him. When the lightning spear impacted the dome, there was a bright white light that covered the whole field. When the light dimmed, Naruto dropped the dome and looked around to find he was the only left in the field that was completely destroyed from the technique. Man, talk about intense. You know, if you didn't put up that barrier you really could have gotten hurt from that light spear. Are you sure you want your clones to go all out against you? I mean, I know you're hard to kill and all, but still that doesn't mean you have to come close to death every time you spar your own clones. Rai stated from his spot on top of a branch he was watching from. So how long have you been back up and running? Naruto questioned as he watched Rai jump down and walk over to him in a lazy fashion. You know, about a little before that clone of yours used the light spear. Which reminds me, when did you master the light spear anyway? I only showed you once, I never really taught it to you yet. Rai confused on how Naruto had learned that technique. Naruto just turned around with a smirk on his face as he started walking back to the house to start cooking dinner. All I needed was to see it once, because with the help of a certain vixen, I can relive my past as much as I want. Naruto yelled over his shoulder as he entered the house. Rai just nodded in understanding as he remembered the day Naruto had decided to tell him about the QB and the reason why he did not have a strong reaction at not being able to go home. It was pretty sad that he was treated as an outcast, but as they say, life sometimes just isn't fair and we just have to live with it and move forward. Flashback. Rai sensei has something I feel you should know because I feel I can trust you. Naruto stated as he sat down on the couch with Rai. Well, Rai put his book he was reading down. Okay Blondie, that you need to tell me? Rai asked as Naruto grew a tick mark on his head at the Blondie nickname, but decided to brush it off for now. How would you feel if I told you there was a demon sealed inside of me from birth? Naruto questioned as he looked down trying not to make eye contact with Rai, but caught off guard from Rai answer. So the dark energy V been feeling from you. Well, you know what I have to say about that. He stated as Naruto listened closely to every word Rai spoke, like if he missed a single word, it would be the end of the world. So what? Rai said plain and simple, like they were simple discussion the weather. This of course caused Naruto to fall off the couch with a thump as he stares at Rai with widened eyes. Rai then chuckles at his expression, then decides to answer the unasked question that Naruto was waiting for. Not like you are the actually demon self, you're just the carrier of the demon, nothing more nothing less, easy as that. Rai stated as he leaned back in his seat waiting for Naruto to respond. Thank you. Naruto said as Rai gave him a questioning look, so Naruto decided to elaborate. You ever wondered why I never made a big fuss about not being able to go home? Naruto asked while getting a nod from Rai. Well, because I wasn't very well liked over there. Naruto stated as he told Rai his life story, finishing off with telling him about the demon actually being his best friend, which shocked Rai a bit but otherwise understood. I understand Blondie, and you don't have to worry, I won't judge you like those back in your homeworld did. Also thank you for trusting me enough to tell me all this. Rai stated, and once that was over they sat in a comfortable silence for a bit till they both decided to go to bed for the night. Flashback end. Rai just brushed the memory off as he made his way to the house to join Naruto for dinner. It still surprised him that Naruto was such an amazing cook. Everything Naruto cooked tasted like God's gift to mankind. Rai mouth watered while thinking about all the amazing food Naruto had made while he was here. Then at last he forced those thoughts down, or he would have walked straight into the door of his house. As Rai walked inside the house, he found Naruto exactly where he thought he would, on the couch with a clone in the kitchen cooking. With the clone cursing about lazy ass master who do shit around here. I see what you mean about your clones having different personalities. I mean, I know you're lazy, but to hear it from your own clone, that must suck big time. Rai stated with a smirk on his face as Naruto turned around lazily as he took some earbuds out of his ears. You say something? Naruto asked in a cool voice and a hidden smirk, while Rai grew a giant tick mark at how Naruto was acting cool. Looks like Kakashi-sensei was good for something after all, thanks bro, hope you okay over there. Naruto said in thought as he waited for Rai's response. Okay, whatever you say Blondie, also what are those things you had in your ears? Rai asked curiously. What are you talking about, I never had anything in my ears. Naruto said while tilting his head. Rai then looked at his hands that still have yet to move since they began speaking to find them empty. He just sighed and shook his head, he was getting too old for this shit. Then turned around and walked into the kitchen to talk with Naruto's clone because this Naruto was giving him a headache. He then found Naruto's clone at the stove cooking happily while humming a soft tune. Yo, so how is the food coming along Blondie? Rai asked, trying to start up a conversation with what he thought would be the less annoying out of the two. Oh, how he was so wrong. What the funk do you mean, how is coming along? I have to cook while my lazy ass boss sits on his ass doing nothing, this is funking ridiculous. The clone stated as he went back to cooking, humming a happy tune. While Rai sweat dropped at what the clone had just done. Bipolar much, Rai said in thought as he decided to ask another question. So how many shadow clones can you make without having to use your mass shadow clone? Rai questioned, trying to salvage the conversation with the clone, but the clone was having none of that. Hunk if I know. Now get the hell out of the kitchen and go bother the lazy ass in the other room, I don't have time for your bullshit now, shoo, the big boys have work to do. The clone said while moving his hands in a shooing motion towards the door. Rai just followed his orders and left to go and talk with the real Naruto again. When he gets to the living room he finds Naruto passed out on the couch, so he just decides to wait in the study till the food was ready. Meanwhile, in Naruto's mindscape. Naruto opened his eyes to find himself in his mindscape lying down near the lake he had placed. He then looks till he sees QB walking over to him, then sitting down near him in the grass. Naruto-kun, remember when I told you how you can relive your memory as many times as you like? She asked, getting a nod from Naruto. Well, that works two ways. You can also relive my memory or more specifically my other container's memory. She said, getting a nod of understanding from the blonde while she takes a deep breath to finish her statement. What am trying to say is, Naruto-kun, your mother was my past container and I want to let you relive most of her life with me. QB stated as she gauged Naruto's reaction to the news. It was as she had expected. He was completely shocked, but there was a small underlining of realization in it. When he finally found his words after a few minutes, he sighed. Let me guess, my mother's name was Kushina Uzumaki? Naruto asked, but it was more like a statement than a question. Meanwhile, QB had her eyes widened in shock. How do you know that no one ever told you about your parents before? At least I don't think. QB asked, surprised he knew who his mother was. Think about it, my idol was the fourth and I used to read everything possible about him, even though they were never married. There was always one girl in almost every story about him and her name was Kushina Uzumaki. Also, the fourth told me himself that he was my father, so just put two and two together and you find her as my mother. He stated while QB nodded with understanding on how he figured it out. So what was the real reason you wanted to show me her memory? Because I'm pretty sure you want me to get something out of it. He asked with curious eyes. Wow, you caught me. Yeah, it wasn't just to show you her memory, but that is a plus to the true reason I want you to see them for. The real reason is that I want to show you a technique that was often used by your chakra make abilities. She stated while still not being able to say the word magic for nothing in the world. Okay, let's go then. He yelled excitedly as he jumped to his feet with QB giggling at his antics. Oh, and one more thing before we go, I was looking into some of your DNA and I found that when you were sucked up by Anima, it accelerated your healing factor. What I'm trying to say is that it suspended your growth for a few years. I'm not sure how long, but if I had to take a guess it would be 6-7 years. She stated with Naruto looking at her like she had grown a second head till what she had just told him sunk in, then his eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. What? He yelled. 2 years later. Here we find our favorite blonde standing in a mostly destroyed field staring at his fist in amazement. I think LL named that move after Bachan. He stated as he got ready to do the move again. Chakra make. Fist of Bachan. He yelled as his fist was encased with blue magic. He slammed his fist into the ground, completely destroying the rest of the field. He then looked at the field and sweat dropped. This is like the 6th training field VE completely destroyed. Rai is going to kill me for this. Maybe I should go see how far I'm getting with the chakra chains. He stated in thought as he walked into the forest, then coming to a stop in front of a few trees. Chakra make. Chakra chains. He yelled as golden chains flew from his outstretched hand wrapping around a few trees in front of him. He then yelled chakra make. Chakra chains crush. As he closed his hand into a fist, causing the golden chains to tighten around the trees till the trees exploded from the pressure. Looks like I got it down pretty good if I don't say so myself. He stated as he put his hand out with his palm open. Chakra make. Rasengan. He said lowly as a perfect Rasengan formed in his hand, but instead of charging at a tree like he first intended to, an idea pooped up into his head that he just had to try as he looked at the Rasengan carefully. I wonder if I can add a bit of my lightning god slayer magic to this. He thought as he begun to put it to the test by adding a bit of his god slayer magic in it, making the blue ball turn black in color with sparks around it. All was going well until he added a little too much and the ball exploded in his hand, sending him flying back into the destroyed training field. Punk, cough, that hurt like cough, bitch man, cough, defiantly need to work on that. He said to himself as he lay in a heap on the ground. Yawn, Naruto-kun, what are you doing out there that you have to make so much noise? QB asked as she stretched out from her nap. Oh hey Kaiu-chan, I'm just training, you know how it goes, practicing old techniques and almost killing myself with the new ones, same old. Naruto stated causally with QB nodding and understanding, completely used to how he trained. Oh, I think I just made a new form of the Rasengan with my god slayer magic. I think LL call it chakra make. Lightning god Rasengan. Naruto stated as he began to lose conciseness with his wounds healing at a fast rate. Just then Rai walked onto the field surveying the damage with a whistle. Damn Blondie, you just keep making more and more destructive techniques. It's hard to believe you're still alive after all this. Rai stated to himself as he picked up Naruto's body and brought him back into the house to rest. 1 year later. Here we find Naruto and Rai standing from each other with Rai wearing a black and yellow combat vest with yellow pants. Well, we have Naruto wearing a black and orange combat vest with black pants. Okay, now here is your final test. Land one hit on me with your God Slayer magic and you may use moves you created with God Slayer magic. Also remember I will be going all out from the very beginning, so good luck and let's get this show on the road. Rai stated as he got into a ready stance with black lightning around him. While Naruto just nodded and got into his ready stance with black lightning around him as well. With Rai deciding it was time to start this thing. Lightning, God bullet. He yelled, sending a bullet of black lightning straight at Naruto. Naruto then dodged as he sent his own lightning god bullet at Rai. With Rai dodging it as well. Naruto then charged at Rai with his hands covered in black lightning. Rai decided to incus his fist with black lightning as well and meet Naruto in the middle of the field. When they met in the middle of the field, Naruto sends his fist straight at Rai's face, only for Rai to tilt his head to the side. Rai then sends his fist straight at Naruto's stomach, but the younger blonde spun to the side, narrowly dodging Rai's fist. Then Naruto pulls his fist back, intending on ending it here and now. Lightning God's breakdown fist. Naruto yells as he brings his fist down on Rai, only for Rai to jump back, dodging his fist, which impacted the ground, leaving a large crater in its wake. Rai decides to take advantage of the situation and blurt in front of Naruto, landing a huge punch on the blonde temple, sending him flying into a few trees. Come on Blondie, is that the best you can do after all 4 years of training? What happened to you mastering my magic in only 4 years, or was that just a big fat lie? I guess you really do break your promises. Rai taunted the fuming blonde that stood up and inhaled a deep breath, gathering a bunch of magic energy that made Rai widen his eyes at. Lightning God bellow. Naruto yelled, sending a huge stream of black lightning from his mouth straight at Rai, who was sweating bullets. Holy shit. That's the same size as mine when it's fully powered. Maybe taunting him wasn't the best plan of action. Rai thought to himself as he prepared to use his strongest lightning barrier ever. Lightning God's ultimate barrier. Rai yelled, sending lots of magic into the barrier of black lightning that compacted into a hard surface practically unbreakable. When the bellow connected with the barrier, it cracked a bit from the force behind the attack. As Rai sighed in relief, he wasn't going to die today. That was until he heard the other blonde speak again. I'm not done yet, Chakramake. Lightning God's Rasengan. Naruto yelled as he slammed the black, sparking Rasengan into the barrier, cracking it a bit more. At this point Rai was beginning to get nerves. Maybe he really shouldn't have taunted him like that. Well, I guess I can test out my newest move. Naruto said as his hand became inked with blue and black lightning. Thank you Kakashi for using this technique so many times in front of me. I don't think I would have learned it as fast as I did without that. He thought as he then charged straight at Rai, who was slightly intrigued about seeing blue lightning, but that faded quickly as he saw the blonde approaching with his hand pulled back, screaming. Chakramake. Lightning God's Chidori. As the Chidori pierced straight through the barrier, slamming into Rai's shoulder as blood began to gush out of his wound. The when Naruto realized what he had just done and began to freak out till Rai pulled Naruto's hand out and his wound instantly healed, calming Naruto down. Wow, I have to say I was not expecting that last one. That really hurt me. Was another god like myself, but if I was anyone other than a god, that could have been a very serious injury. He stated with a smile until his eyes narrowed, making Naruto gulp. With that being said, never use that on an ally or on anyone you do not plan on killing, am I understood? He asked in a stern voice that Naruto nodded to. With that Rai smiled again at Naruto again. Well, it looks like we are done with your lightning god slayer magic. Now you have 6 years to train in your wind make magic and anything else you want. So get to it, and if you ever need anything or if you want to spar to test out your abilities, then you know where to find. See ya. Rai said as he made his way back to the house, leaving Naruto to think about what he was going to be training in for the next 6 years, then brushed it off for the day to go and cook dinner for them. The next 6 years are going to be the hardest years of his life, but it will all pay off in the end. Aiwu-chan, what are you doing? Naruto stuttered out as he finds himself pinned against a tree with QB on top of him. Narukunai about time we push past the friend zone, and since you won I will. She purred in his ear as she crushed her lips against his own. Naruto himself was far too surprised to respond to the kiss. The only thing going through his mind right now was how the funk did he get himself into this situation. Flashback 15 minutes earlier. Outside the mindscape. Here we find Naruto laying in his bed after another long day of training, attempting to fall asleep until QB decided to speak. Naruto-kun, can you come into the seal has something I need to talk to you about, it's important. QB said in a nervous voice that made Naruto raise an eyebrow, but nods anyway. Sure, I haven't seen you in a while anyway and I was planning on going anyway. I guess this killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Naruto stated as he allowed himself to drift inside his mindscape. Now back mindscape. When he arrives he finds himself standing in a thick part of the forest with a stream passing through the area. As he looks around he finds QB sitting near the stream looking off into the distance with a thoughtful frown on her face. Seeing this he walks over to her putting a hand on her shoulder grabbing her attention. "What's wrong Caillou-chan?" he asked as he saw her look down avoiding eye contact, seeing this made him worry, so he sat down next to her against the tree she was resting against. "Come on Caillou-chan, you know I'm here for you. You're my best friend and the only person that understands me. I would never leave you. You can tell me anything I'll always be here, so please tell me what's going on. I hate to see you sad," he said as QB looked up at him with nervous eyes with her mouth opening and closing every few seconds trying to find her words. It took a few more minutes of this for her to actually find them. "Okay Naruto-kun, I wanted to know if you ever thought that you and I would be more than friends, because I have and I love you," she said saying the last part quickly while looking down with Naruto barely catching it, causing his eyes to widen as he stared at her. "What brought this on?" Naruto asked still wide-eyed staring into her red orbs. "I just wanted to tell you that because lately I've been worrying that all you wanted from me was my friendship and I was fine with that for the first few years, but now I see help it I love you and I understand if you feel the same way," she said with a dejected look on her face. That was until he put a hand on her shoulder drawing her attention back to him. "Well looks like you have nothing to worry about because I feel the same way," he stated with a large grin on his face. That was all QB needed as she quickly straddled his waist with him against a tree. Flashback complete. Next morning outside the mindscape. Here we find Naruto Uzumaki waking up with the biggest shit-eating grin on his face. The grin he carried was one that said I just had sex and I rocked her world, yeah, it was that kind of grin. As he began to stand up from bed he felt a wet spot in his bed. "Really that funking sucks, I have sex in my mind but my body reacts on the outside," he stated in thought, but that didn't slow him down one bit. He just got up, changed the sheets and put the dirty ones in the hamper. He then pimp walked over to the bathroom with that damn grin still on his face. "I don't know what you're grinning about because if I didn't come on to you, you would have never got any, just saying," QB stated, causing Naruto to instantly deflate and grumble about damn vixens ruining his mood. After Naruto took his shower he went into the kitchen to find Rai sitting at the table drinking some coffee looking out the window seemingly in deep thought. So Naruto decided to find out what was bothering him. "I what wrong? It must be something to get you thinking," Naruto asked with a teasing smirk that Rai missed as he turned to face him with his own smirk. "What do you mean morning it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon you dumb shit. I was just worried that you must be getting tired from all the training you're putting yourself through that caused you to sleep this long," he stated as he watched Naruto's face turn into one of shock. "What do you mean 3:00 in the afternoon? Why didn't you wake me up, and if it is 3:00 in the afternoon, then why the hell are you drinking coffee?" Naruto asked as Rai held up the cup so Naruto could see it better. "This is tea you dimwit, and I didn't wake you because I heard a lot of moaning last night, so I thought that you were in pain from all the training you been putting yourself through," Rai stated as he turned back to the window completely missing Naruto's massive blush. "Well I guess I'll go and do some light training today, see you later bro," Naruto stated as he walked toward the door with some toast in hand. "Yeah whatever blondie, have a good time out there, try not to kill yourself because I really don't feel like getting rid of your dead body and if you do kill yourself, make sure you have nothing left of yourself for me to clean up," Rai said waving as Naruto's sweat dropped at what he said. Wow what a beat, Naruto thought as he walked out of the house over to one of the training grounds. "Okay, I want to see how well I can use my wind user domain technique, so let's start with that," Naruto stated as he made a T-hand seal and yelled chakra make. Mass shadow clones. As 30 showdown clones popped into existence, already knowing what the original wanted, they all got into fighting stances. He then yelled his newest technique he had finished. Wind user's domain. As they were surrounded by a large tornado of wind keeping anyone from getting out or in. When it finished forming, Naruto motioned for his clones to attack. As soon as they started charging they noticed their movements were slowed down, while the original seemed to be moving faster than normal. They all smirked as they noticed the technique was working perfectly. As the clones attacked the original they were quickly put down by the difference in their speed. Once all the clones were gone he then cancelled the technique as he nodded to himself with an accomplished smile on his face. "Okay, what to do now that I know that technique is complete? I could continue practicing the techniques I already know, or I can continue on my wind sword technique. He pondered to himself as he began to pace around the field, trying to decide on what he should do next, until he finally came to his decision. "I'm going to work on my wind sword technique," he stated as he was about to activate his technique until someone bothered him. Naruto-kun I don't want to sound mean, but why the hell are you talking to yourself s really getting annoying, so shut the funk up. Kara yelled at him causing him to wince at the volume of her voice. Okay sorry Miss Cranky I didn't mean to wake you from your damn nap. He retorted back to her only for her to gain a tick mark on her head until she smirked. Oh are you sure you want to insult a person that is living inside of your own mind? Because am sure I can go find a memory of Guy and Lee in their SS rank gain jutsu if you want. She said slyly as Naruto paled. Please no am sorry I woke you up. I promise I'll do anything you want just not that please make me relive that. He pleaded as she smiled at that. Okay well I get to be on top tonight. She said simply as she cut the connection while Naruto had a huge blush on his face. Hey blondie what are you blushing at? Rai stated standing a few feet away from him as he quickly pushed down the blush. I don't know what you're talking about buddy. Naruto responded as Rai just stared at him until he just shook his head, then looked around the training field with a thoughtful look on his face, then looked back at Naruto. You know blondie we haven't spared in a year why don't we have a nice spar now? Rai stated as he got into a fighting stance with a smirk which was mirrored by Naruto as they stared at each other, waiting for one of them to make a move. Rai decided to start it off by blurring in front of Naruto, sending a low sweep to his legs, with Naruto jumping over his sweep to send a fist covered with wind straight to Rai's face, but Rai just grabbed Naruto's wrist, then slamming him into the ground on his face. Come on blondie you must love tasting dirt because for some reason every time we spar you're eating it. Rai taunted with a smirk until he noticed the Naruto he was taunting popped out of existence with him hearing. Chakramake. Fist of Bachan. All Rai had enough time to do was turn around to have a blue fist impact his cheek sending him flying into a few trees on the other side of the training field. What was that Rai I couldn't hear you with all those trees breaking. Naruto stated with a huge grin until he heard aloud. Lightning god light spear. Coming from the area Rai was in sending a large spear of compact white lightning with Naruto beginning to panic oh shit this is bad, I don't have enough time to put up the lightning god barrier crap, no time I have to try this. Naruto stated in thought as he yelled. Wind barrier. As he was quickly inkissed by wind moving at massive speeds, causing a small tornado to form around him. When the spear impacted the wind it seemed to work until Naruto technique faltered, making Rai's weakened technique impact Naruto, sending him flying into the trees, destroying a few trees with his body until he impacted a boulder, causing a crater to form on it as he slumped to the ground. Unconscious. As a perfectly healthy Rai got to the area where Naruto was he looked down at Naruto and said. You have a long way to go blondie till you can beat me in a fight, but I have to say that punch really hurt man, if I didn't have my healing that would have taken a lot longer to get back up from that. Rai stated as he picked up Naruto's body to bring him back into the house. As all this was happening Kara was seething about what was happening. I swear Naruto-kun better be able to get up by tonight or am going to be pissed. Safe to say Kara was not happy that night and Naruto will have fix his mindscape in order for it not to look like a battleground. 3 years later in Naruto's bedroom. Here we find Naruto lying in his bed with a small smile on his face. His eyes slowly opened as he raised his head to see a mess of red hair he blinked, then blinked again, then one more time just to make sure. Then he just laid his head back down on his pillow to think this through. Okay there is a girl on top of me and if I feel that right I would have to say she is nude. He thought as he felt her move as her breast pushed against his chest. Yeah defiantly nude. He then did the first thing that popped into his head as he jumped out of the bed while pointing a finger at the girl in his bed. Who the hell are you and what are you doing in my bed? He yelled as the girl looked up with a pout on her face. What are you doing this early in the morning Naruto-kun come back in bed and sleep it's too damn early for your antic. She stated as she slammed her head back into the pillow. Hearing his voice he took better look at her, then he noticed something that made him facepalm the 3 foxtails coming out of her tailbone. Kara-chan told me last night she would most likely be out in the morning, but in my own defense, we were having sex at the same time, so you blame me for forgetting that. He thought to himself as Rai busted through the door with a baseball bat and pajamas that had this little yellow rat type thing on it with a lightning-shaped tail he also had pink slippers on. What happened I heard yelling and I thought there was a burglar or something so I got here as fast as I could. He stated as he held the bat at the ready to hit anything he needed to. Naruto just had a massive sweat drop god my ass. He thought to himself as he looked at Rai. Rai were you not the one who said no one could get up here without your knowing? Also s up with the damn bat you're a god, are you not what the hell is a bat going to do that you couldn't do otherwise? Naruto questioned as he watched Rai just rub the back of his head in embarrassment, then looked at the bed to see the root of the problem, to see a girl with red hair snuggling against a pillow as his face turned a bit serious. "You're right, Blondie, I should be able to detect if anyone entered, so that either means she was in here to begin with or she somehow passed my defenses, but by the looks of it, I say you know her, so care to explain?" Rai questioned as Naruto was about to explain, but Kara beat him to it. "Would you two take your damn conversation somewhere else, or you," she pointed at Naruto, "I'm going to cut you off for a month," she stated as her face fell back to the pillow with Naruto paling at her threat. How could she? They had been having sex almost every day for 3 years. Naruto, not wanting her to go through with the threat, quickly grabbed a confused Rai as he quickly ran out the house with a confused Rai. As he thought they were at a safe distance to have their talk, he finally stopped about a mile away from the house. "Punk, that was scary, I thought I was going to be cut off," Naruto stated, forgetting that Rai was right next to him, which with his comment made Rai gain a strange glint in his eyes. "Let me guess, that's the demon girl that was inside of you," he stated, figuring it out because of the tails as Naruto nodded, kind of scared of the weird shine that was in Rai's eyes. "So what was she talking about when she said she would cut you off?" he questioned with a knowing smirk as Naruto began to panic to find an excuse. You know, he was talking about training. Yes, training. She would stop training me for a month if we didn't leave," Naruto stated as he held on to his last string of dignity, but failed as he noticed that Rai's face hadn't changed. "Oh, training, that was the best you could come up with. You know, judge you for letting her have the pants in the relationship. It's a lifestyle chose after all. Just wait here for a bit," Rai stated as he ran back to the house. A few minutes went by as Naruto waited there till Rai came back with a pair of what looked like Naruto's pants. As he got near Naruto, he lit a fire, then threw the pants in as he got down on his knees in a praying position. "We are here today to say our farewells to the pants of Blondie. They have fallen just as many to the female race. You put up a good fight through your years, but it wasn't enough, so goodbye, pants of Blondie, you will be missed," Rai stated with a lone tear running down his cheek as he put out the fire, then he put the ashes in an urn named Pants of Blondie. Naruto, seeing this, had a huge tick mark growing on his head till he decided he needed to let off some steam, so he walked up to Rai that was still holding the urn, whispering things like, "You're free now, or you will always be remembered," that just pissed Naruto off even more. "Hey Rai, how about a friendly spar between you and I?" Naruto asked as he placed his hand on Rai's shoulder in a tight grip that said, "Fight me now or I will prank the shit out of you later." Rai, not wanting to go through the crazy shit Naruto does when he pranks you, decided it would be safer just to spar with a kid, then he remembered something very important. "Okay, I'll spar with you, buddy, because you know how I feel about being kicked out of my own home, you know how well that went over last time," he stated with a predatory grin on his face that made Naruto really want to rethink his decision to spar with Rai right now. The last time Naruto had kicked Rai out of his house, Rai asked Naruto to spar with him later, and Naruto didn't wake up for 5 days. Yeah, Kara wasn't happy either. "You know, Rai, I think I will just go see Kara and help her get situated since she is out of the seal and all," Naruto stated as he tried to get past Rai, but didn't succeed because he got sent flying by a lightning god's breakdown fist through a couple of trees. The rest of the evening all that could be heard was cries of pain from Naruto as Rai gave him the beatdown of his life. All the while Kara just slept the day away with a small smile on her face. Yeah, the last 2 years for these three will be eventful. Here we find Rai and Naruto, with Rai teasing Naruto as always. They are having a pleasant conversation that Naruto was not about to jump over the table to kill Rai. Yeah, a normal morning for these two. Yeah, neither of them even paid attention to the constant loud crashes that were going on outside until Rai just sighed while Naruto laughed nervously. "She causes just as much destruction as you do. You two really are meant to be together," Rai stated as he rested his head on the table. "Once this last year is up, I'm gonna have to do so many repairs to this place. Is there no god in this cruel world?" Rai complained until he had to sweat drop at his own comment, then he just slammed his head into the table, repeatedly mumbling about how much work he has to do later. But Naruto, seeing this, he had a huge sweat drop on his head. So he just got up and patted the now crying Rai on the back, then after Rai calmed down, decided to go check on Kara. Once he was outside, he looked off into the direction they were hearing the loud crashes for him to only have his eyes widen at the sight. He then disappeared in a flash of lightning to the spot where Kara was, only to find her in her 30-foot-tall fox form with 3 tails swooshing around, destroying a few trees around the training ground. Then he noticed she was spitting some kind of bluish fire from her mouth, burning a few more trees, causing Naruto to sweat drop. "I think I know why Rai was so down about having to clean up once we leave," he said in thought as he decided to bring attention to himself. "Hey Kara-chan, you finally mastered your Biju soul takeover magic," Naruto yelled, catching Kara's attention as she turned towards him sporting a large grin on her foxy face. Hey Naru-kun, and yeah, I finally got it down. It just kind of sucks that I'm only half the size I used to be, but I guess that's pretty good, considering I only have 3 tails. She said as she turned back into her human form with the 3 tails shrinking back to normal. She then looked at Naruto with a small smirk. So you finally recreated your father's technique, eh? She asked as she began to walk towards him. Naruto just smiled with thumbs up in the nice guy pose. Yep, I finally finished it after 3 long years of attempting it. Also, I was thinking I should maybe try to complete that technique one of my clones saw when I had them spying on Sasuke. He stated as she suddenly stopped walking and put a finger to her chin, adopting an adorable thinking position to Naruto. You mean that lightning dragon thing he made with real lightning that was controlled by the Chidori? She questioned him just to have him nod to her question. Once she near him, she leaned into him, making him blush a bit. She then captured his lips in a passionate kiss. As they kissed, she began to lick his lower lips, requesting entrance that he allowed willingly, their tongue intertwined with each other's, until Kara pushed Naruto to the ground while straddling him. What are you doing, Kara-chan? We can't do this out here. Naruto tried to reason, but Kara was too far gone. She was already licking Naruto's neck, getting a moan from the blonde. While all of this was going on, they had a small camera with a red light on in the bushes. With Rai and the camera. This will be great blackmail material later. I knew Naruto was totally whipped. He stated as he giggled perversely, but was scared shitless when a blue fireball destroyed his camera. When he looked up, he started sweating from the pissed off look on the 2 people he was spying on faces. Hey you guys, how you doing? I was just taking a stroll when I came across this camera. I don't know where it came from, and I was about to get rid of it till you beat me to it. He said as he was thinking of a way out of this situation. Okay, I can take on one of them, but both that may cause some problems if I'm not careful. Rai pondered as he stared at them, who were staring straight back at him, till they both smirked, making Rai sweat bullets. You know, gods, and we both know you can take on one of us without many problems, but can you take on the both of us at the same time? You don't have to if you don't want. We won't force you if you're too scared. Kara asked, her smirk still plastered on her face. Oh no, that bitch didn't. Did she just insult my pride as a man and a god? Oh, I'll show you why I'm called a god. He said in thought as his face adopted a beepy smirk. Then he stood up and walked to the middle of the training field, motioning for them to follow. You know, Kara-chan, we may have 2 of us, but he still is a god. I may god slayer magic, but I'm not at the level to actually take on a god yet. Naruto whispered to Kara as her smirk just grew into a grin. Yeah, I know, Naru-kun, but I have a plan that I have a feeling will work perfectly. Come here. She said quietly as she whispered her plan into his ear, causing him to grin. So you were watching me when I was practicing that last week? I thought I could smell some pheromones in the air when I was practicing. Don't tell me, Kara-chan, do you play for both teams? Because if you do, that pretty hot. Naruto questioned as Kara's face went tomato red. Shut up. She yelled as Naruto just laughed at that. Are you 2 done yet? Because I'm ready to start kicking some ass. Rai stated with that damn beepy smile still on his face as he got into a fighting stance with Naruto and Kara, getting into their own fighting stances as well. Kara then decided she would start the fight by yelling Foxfire. Fireball. As she sent a large bluish fireball straight at him as Rai dodged the fireball easily, but ducked as he noticed Naruto already in front of him via flying Raijin, sending a swift kick to his head. Once he ducked the kick, he sent an uppercut towards the now open blonde, only to have to dodge another strike from the blonde, who disappeared via flying Raijin. As Rai landed safely a few feet away. Okay, you have defiantly gotten better over the years, I can say that much. Rai stated as he charged at Naruto while yelling Lightning God's breakdown fist. That Naruto himself barely dodged using flying Raijin. That ability of his is starting to piss me off, Rai growled in thought as he dodged a giant tail courtesy of Kara with her partial takeover. Kara, seeing him dodge the attack, began to spit multiply Foxfire fireballs at him, making Rai weave in and out of the attacks, but was stopped when Rai suddenly sent a large Lightning God's bellow straight at her. Not having enough time to dodge, she yelled Biju tail shell. As her tails grew to massive sizes, wrapping around her protectively as they seemed to harden. As she took the attack, Naruto was not wasting his chance to attack Rai. He teleported near the stationary Rai as he continued to pump magic into his attack. Naruto then muttered a low chakra make. Rasengan. Slamming it into a distracted Rai's side, sending Rai spiraling through a few trees. Damn, he's still though even with the 2 of us. Naruto stated as Kara neared him, sporting a small smirk on her face. Yeah, but my plan will work, I promise, I just know it. She said with confidence as they watch Rai come out of the tree line sporting heavily ripped cloths with a small gash healing quickly on his side. You know, that really hurt. Rai stated with a pout, but then smirk, and what he said next did not sit well with Naruto or Kara. I might actually, for the first time in years I might add, need to go all out on you too. He stated as his magical energy skyrocketed, causing Naruto and Kara to widen their eyes, then later narrowed. So he never really went all out on me, Naru-kun, they thought together, and then they both smirked, taking the challenge head on, as they both increased their magic as well, causing it to skyrocket. If someone would be passing by, all they would be able to see were 3 pillars of magic shooting up into the sky. Now the fun is beginning. Naruto stated, sporting a large grin on his face, which was mirrored by both Kara and Rai. Naruto then decided to start this time as he yelled, "Lightning God's bellow." As he sent a large beam of black lightning straight at Rai, who chose to jump over it. Big mistake, Naruto thought as he disappeared via flying Raijin, appearing above a shocked Rai yelling, "Chakra make. Fist of Bachan." Impacting Rai's face, sending him sailing toward the ground where Kara was waiting with her arm in its giant fox form. Send a punch at Rai, who could do nothing at the moment. As he took the blow, he was sent sailing back into the trees with Naruto and Kara following him. Damn, I take my earlier thought back, that technique of his isn't pissing me off anymore. I downright hate that funking technique of his and Kara, damn, who know a girl pack such a powerful right hook. He said in thought as he stood back up, immediately blocking a punch to his face from Kara, her arm still in its Biju state. I really need to do something, they seriously have me on the defensive here. He thought to himself as he sent a lightning fast kick to her stomach, sending her flying into a few trees, causing Rai to sweat drop. Why do all our attacks send each other flying everywhere? He thought to himself, but quickly disregarded that as he dodged a lightning god's bullet. That destroyed a few more trees, turning his attention to the other blonde that looked to be gathering a lot of wind magic or something that made Rai raise an eyebrow. Blind user's domain. Naruto yelled as a tornado formed around them, moving at speeds that would rip apart anyone who tried to touch it. You're in my domain now, Rai, let's have a little fun. Naruto stated with a smirk that sent chills down Rai's spine. Without saying anything, Naruto charged straight at Rai, moving faster than normal, causing Rai to narrow his eyes. He's moving faster than normal, is this how the technique of his works? Rai mused as he attempted to dodge, only for his eyes to widen because he moved at extremely slow pace, only to have Naruto punch him square in the jaw, making him stumble back a bit, still wide-eyed. Holy shit, this technique does a lot more speed him up, it also slows his opponent down. This technique is really dangerous now. Rai stated to himself, thinking of a way out of this situation, until he looked up, seeing a small opening at the top, then smirked. Ha, I guess being a god has a shit ton of perks. He stated to himself when he bent his knees ready to take off. What the hell is he thinking now? Naruto thought to himself as he watched Rai bend his knees, only to widen his eyes as he saw a massive amount of lightning magic encasing Rai's legs, and then it happened. Rai launched himself straight up and out of the hole at the top. As Naruto dispelled his technique, he cursed himself for not stopping him from jumping. As Rai landed back on the ground gracefully, he was startled to have a fist encased with blue fire slam into his face, sending him into a tree, only to bounce off like a rag doll. Okay, this is really getting out of hand now. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you two are really trying to kill me. Rai mumbled as he stood up, wiping a little blood from the corner of his mouth, to look up to see a smirking Kara. You know, one of Koi's old senseis once said to always come at them with the intent to kill, so I guess we just do that with Ever Sensei now. Kara explained as her other fist was encased with blue flames as well. So come on, God-san, show me what you got. Kara taunted as she watched Rai's fist become encased with black lightning. Not wanting him to start, she charged at him, sending a low kick to his legs, only for him to backflip over it, but Kara wasn't finished as she grabbed his left foot, slamming Rai into the ground on his back. She then went to punch him in the stomach, only for Rai to roll over, quickly getting up and sending his lightning encased fist straight into Kara's temple, knocking her out. Damn, pant one down, pant one to go. Rai panted out as he tried to regain his breath, only to have a wind-covered fist slammed straight into his chest, sending him back a few feet. As he regained his balance, he glared at Naruto. You and your little girlfriend really have a knack for sneak attacks. Rai stated, getting a grin from Naruto. Well, she is a demon fox, and as you know they don't fight fair. Naruto trailed off as another Naruto appeared behind Rai, sending a fast kick to his side, only for Rai to catch it, causing the clone's eyes to widen for a second before he was electrocuted, making him dispel. Let me guess what you were going to say before we were rudely interrupted. You being her container, all those made you pick up a couple of her traits. Rai stated as Naruto just smirked at him, causing him to have a sudden chill. Rai, I can't beat you by myself, you know it, and I know it, but you did just mention something that will allow me to beat you. I don't fight fair. Naruto stated with smirk. The smirk transforming into a full-blown grin as he yelled out his next technique. Chakra make. Sexy, no jutsu. Naruto yelled as he turned into his female self as she stood there in a seductive pose with all the right curves and as nude as the day she was born. This got the desired effect out of Rai as he was rocketed back via nosebleed into the realm of unconsciousness. Naruto stood there with a satisfied smile on his face as he turned to the downed Kara. So how long are you planning to pretend to be knocked out? Naruto questioned only to have Kara stand up with a pout on her face. Naruto-kun, I was hoping you'd carry me back and hold me in your arms. She complained as he just walked up to and picks her up bridal style as he carried her back to the house, having a clone drag the unconscious Rai back. That was the day Naruto and Kara had beaten the god of lightning, well technically I guess you can say. 1 year later, departing day. Here we find Naruto, Kara and Rai standing on a path that leads down the mountain, and for some reason Naruto and Rai couldn't stop the tears that were falling from their faces as they hugged each other tightly, both saying I love you bro and I always remember you to each other as Kara just stared at them with a questioning look on her face. Why are you guys showing so much affection towards each other? It's, how do I say this nicely, it's weird. Kara stated as they both looked at her and stopped crying for a moment, both turning toward her. What do you mean we're friends? I mean we're best friends, you know, it's like what's that one word I heard in that one video, Naruto stated as he trailed off. Then him and Rai looked at each other as if they remembered, then they both stated at the same time bromance. As if on cue a wired screen type thing showed up and started playing a video. On cue, watch the music video bromance on YouTube if you want, but you will get the joke better if you do, and trust me the song is pretty funny, just saying. Once the video was finished the weird screen type thing just disappeared and Kara turned to the two guys who were again crying and hugging each other, saying the same things as before, so just turned with a sigh, it must be a guy thing, because I don't get it at all. She stated in thought as she just let the guys have their moment together. Oh, and one more thing I need to ask you before you leave, Blondie, what's your name? Rai asked, causing Naruto and Kara to face fault hard. Then Naruto quickly stood back up, pointing a finger at Rai, who had the decency to look embarrassed. What the funk do you mean you don't know my name? Naruto exclaimed as he stared in disbelief at his best friend. How could he not know his name? They had been together for 10 funking years, how was that even possible? Hey, in my own defense, you never introduced yourself. Rai stated as Naruto and Kara calmed themselves down. Then Naruto stepped up and decided to introduce himself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and remember it, damn it. Naruto yelled in Rai's face with Rai nodding his head. Once they were finally done having their moment together, Naruto and Kara waved bye as they made their journey down the mountain. Then Rai just went back in his house to pack because of those damn overgrown lizards. 4 years later, some random forest in Earthland X781. Here we find a woman around the age of 16 that looked to be slim, large busted woman with long, straight black hair that fell to the middle of her back. It is cut in the traditional Japanese princess style. Her name was Kagura Mikazuchi. She is currently walking down a path with a katana, but the weird thing about this katana was that it was sealed shut with white bandages. As she walks down this path, she can't shake the feeling that she would never see her brother again. She had been searching for years with no luck at all, as she thought this. Tears began to fall from her face until she heard a gentle and calm voice from behind her. You know, a beautiful girl such as yourself shouldn't be out here by herself crying. The voice stated as she spun around to come face to face with a blonde young man about her age, maybe a year older. He had blue eyes as well, and the most defining of all his features was the 3 whiskers-like marks on each side of his face. For some reason though, she couldn't help but stare into his blue eyes. They were so beautiful, which caused her to blush a bit at that as she tried to turn her gaze away. Keyword tried, she just couldn't stop staring into his blue orbs. With Naruto seeing this, he decided that he should most likely introduce himself. He defiantly didn't want another Rai moment. Hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, may I ask your name? Naruto stated as he introduced himself. Kagura, seeing no harm in it, decided to introduce herself. Hello, I'm Kagura Mikazuchi, it's nice to meet you, Naruto Uzumaki. She stated politely as she noticed they had kind of an awkward silence before Naruto broke the ice. So back to my earlier question, why is such a beautiful girl such as yourself out in the woods, crying for? Naruto asked in a worried tone, and for some reason Kagura couldn't keep the blush off her from the beautiful comment. I don't know, I was just walking and thinking of some bad memories. She answered in a solemn voice that made Naruto want to help her for some reason. So do you have any family or anything to go back to? I'm pretty sure they could comfort you. Naruto stated, hoping she had someone to go back to, but sad look on her face at the mention of family made him frown. I don't have anyone. I had an older brother, but he was taken from me a few years back and I've been looking for him ever since. Kagura stated with her head down, then thought, why am I telling him all this? But was surprised when she felt a pair of warm arms bring her into a hug. She was stunned for a bit, but then slowly wrapped her arms around him as she began to cry her heart out. In this person she had just met arms, why was she opening up to him so quickly? It didn't make any sense. She never opened up to anyone, and this man had gotten her to open up in just a few minutes of talking to each other. Once she was done crying her heart out, he spoke. Why don't you come with me and Kara-chan? We could help you look for your brother, since we don't really have a place to go back to either. Naruto stated as he could feel her nod into his chest. After a few minutes later, he could feel her breathing even out, indicating she had fallen asleep. Picking her and her sword up, he began to walk back to him and Kara-chan camp, where he saw her sitting by the tent with a bored look on her face, then it turned questioning when she spotted Naruto and the girl in his arms, sleeping with a peaceful expression on her face. Naru-kun, who's that? Kara asked as Naruto just shrugged. Our new traveling companion, I guess. He stated plain and simple as he sat down and began to cook dinner on the fire. 4 months later, some beach. Here we find Naruto with Kagura leaning on his arm sitting on the beach watching the stars. Over the past 4 months they had grown very close to one another, especially after the talk Kara and Kagura had 2 months ago. It still made Kagura blush thinking about it. Flashback 2 months ago. So Kagura, do you like Naru-kun? Kara asked Kagura as they sit by the fire of their camp waiting for. Yeah, I do, but I know that he is taken by you. She stated with a sad look on her face as Kara just smirked. You know I don't mind sharing if you don't. Kara stated as Kagura's face turned even redder than before. Really? She stuttered out, getting a nod from Kara, but when she looked at Kara, she was met with Kara's lips on hers. She just stayed there wide-eyed. She didn't even notice Kara's tongue in her mouth from herself being in shock, but she soon moaned in the kiss as she began to kiss back. Sooner or later they ended up on the ground with Kagura on top as they continued to kiss deeply, rubbing each other all over till. Wow, that's hot. They heard from the edge of the camp as they look only to see Naruto unconsciously drooling at the scene in front of him. They both blushed from the look he was giving them. Once they were able to compose themselves, Kara dragged a still blushing Kagura over to the now smirking Naruto. Okay, from the way you're smirking I guess you already know what we decided. Kara stated as Naruto just gave a knowing smile as he walked up to Kagura, pulling her into a passionate kiss as his tongue entered her mouth, exploring every crevasse, getting a loud moan from Kagura as she leaned into the kiss, enjoying every second of it. Flashback end. So what do we do now? Kagura asked. Naruto just looked at her and smiled. We are going to join a guild in 8 months from now so we can have a place to call home. He told her. She just nodded as she leaned deeper into his side. Yeah, that would be nice. What do you think our ranks are? She questioned. Well, from all the spars you and I have had, I would have to say you're borderlining a high A rank to a low S ranked, but don't worry, by the time we join a guild you will be S class, I promise. He stated, causing her to smile at that as he continued. Kara-chan is easily an S class, while I'm at the level of Wizard Saint. He stated as she nodded too that even with her and Kara-chan together they still couldn't touch him. So what are we going to do for the last 8 months? She questioned as he looked deep into her brown eyes with a large grin. We are going to be training you in wind magic. Of course I can feel that you have the talent for it, you just don't have a trainer, but you have nothing to worry about now because I am a master in wind magic, so it's all good. He stated with a thumbs up as she just nodded to that as she leaned back into him. How long are you two going to cuddle over there? I just cooked dinner. Kara yelled from the camp. From hearing this, Naruto paled. You did what now? Naruto questioned with his face as wide as a ghost. I said I cooked dinner, now get over here and eat. She said while glaring at him as if daring him to say the wrong thing. He just nodded while crying and I'm tears. Rah, you lucky bastard, you don't have to eat her disgusting food again. He complained in his head as he walked over to Kara. Everything for these 3 will change in just 8 months' time. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.